All right. Hello. Good evening. So I thought I would do a stream. I've been reflecting more on like data handling. I thought I would just dump some thoughts. So I had this like huge challenge of basically this app is like it's very complex. There's this thing which is this calendar, which is a mix of like dinners assigned to a specific week on a specific day versus to-dos that are considered events because they have a date, and if that date hits one of the days of this week, it's going to be treated as an event. And then you have to-dos that you've actually committed to for that specific week. So you have like general to-dos as one piece of data, and then you have commitments, to-dos for a specific week as a different type of data, and then you have a third, which is dinner. And all of this needs to like come together in this UI, and then the question is, who's responsible for that? Is it the UI that's responsible for this, or is it actually the state management that should provide like the week? I already have a concept of like previous, current, and next week. So I concluded like that's the state management responsibility to actually provide state in a way that makes it easy to reason about like what to-dos and dinners and stuff are available in the current week. But then we have plan next week, which is kind of the opposite. So on the previous one, you had the days, and then you show to-dos bound to those days. But here you have the to-dos, and then you show which days, not by each to-do, but by each person in the family. So this was like, I was pulling my hair out on this. And one thing that I realized is that I wanted to kind of point to, so when I have my data of weeks or like a specific week to do, that week to do has an ID. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, sorry. So a week to do has an ID, which is the to do that it references, right? This is the to do that you assign onto for some week on a specific day. That's what this reflects. And I wasn't sure how to represent this because I was very, well, I guess confused by the way the data was stored, but that's the point. Like data can be persisted in a way that isn't ideal for UI consumption. It's about optimizing the data or the persistence and querying and all of that stuff. So the job of your state management is to like transform that persistence optimal data structure into some UI optimal data structure. So what I ended up doing here is that I have this week to do, but then I have pointers. So that's the thing. It's like, as you can see here, for example, an assignment points to an actual family member, right? But instead of like showing, just providing the user ID in these assignments and then letting the UI doing like a cross lookup for finding the actual member, I'm actually just giving the member reference here so that when you're going through these assignments in the UI, you actually have the name and the avatar and everything. And this isn't immutable. Like if I had immutability, I wouldn't do this. If you do things immutably, you have to have like references and you have to kind of build things together. And you have to do this, you have to derive a lot more. But here we don't really have to derive, because when we point to a member, we point to the same member, and because all members are reactive, it doesn't matter like who points to it. And even here we are protecting all all the state. So even though the family has members, you can't change those members from anywhere but the family, because I'm returning it hopefully I should have returned it as read only. So it's only the family that's allowed to make changes. Oh, yeah, by the way, I need to yarn dev. Yeah, so one thing that I did is that I created this create data lookup, and I even implemented it as a utility in Bonsify, but I think I made a mistake. And the reason is, even though I can more like easily point to this, I have to manage more as well. So for the family, it's not only members, it's members by ID as well. So if I'm changing one of them, I have to remember to change the other one. But the whole thing was really just me wanting to point to this, but you're never like certain when you have a pointer that you're actually pointing to something that's actually there. So even if I have this, the user ID might not be in the members by ID. So you kind of always have to verify that when you have these cross references, which is like the likelihood of a user ID in an assignment not being tied to a member. Like, well, in practically it can happen, right? Maybe one of your kids are moving out and they're not part of the app anymore. So now suddenly you might have, you're looking at some old to-dos and that user ID isn't part of the member anymore, in the members anymore. And then you have like undefined. So the more I thought about this, like these cross references, it's not about simplifying the lookup. It's about accepting the fact that cross-referencing doesn't guarantee that things exist. So I'm not gonna have, let's see, I'm not gonna, oh, let's say, git. I'm not gonna have, and I'm not gonna have data cache either. I'm gonna delete this and I'm gonna explain why. So there's not gonna be any utils here. We're just gonna have reactive. And then we just have these read-only merge, which is part of the reactive primitive. It's just different modes of, it's all tied to the actual reactive primitive. By the way, I also found a bug in using reduce, so I fixed that, so that's nice. Remove utils. And we're also gonna change the documentation here. Let's see, I can remove this one. Data fetching, so we're gonna talk a bit more about that, I think. But before we do that, we're gonna fix this. So we're not gonna have members by ID here. Let's remove that. So what we have to do here is I have to check if, so this would be family members. I have to find this member, even though it's a little bit more code. ID equals user ID. And then we just have to filter. The good thing though is that filter has become quite nice. So member, I wonder if there's a better way to, can I just do this? Yeah, look at that. I wonder if there's a better way to like exists. That would be nice. All? Isn't there like a sum any? No. Is there every? That would be nice if there was like an exists kind of thing. Doesn't matter. The point is that we only, so this actually fixes a bug, right? That will be very difficult to track, which is that one of the members exits the family, but you still have to-dos referencing that user ID. At least in Firebase, it will work like that. But then we have to fix that for the rest of the stuff as well. So we're gonna remove create. Where is it? To-dos by ID. So again, I've been like managing this. And I think I have the same on dinners. Dinners by ID. Then we're gonna see how this affects other things. Yeah. So again, we just have to find it, right? Dinners, find dinner ID equals ID. And if it isn't there, I'm returning null and I'm filtering it. Can do the same here. Just yeah, look at that. That's nice. So this is actually a relatively new feature in TypeScript or Fix or whatever you want to call it, that you can actually, it understands the return type from the filter, which is nice. I wish I could just do this. I can't. That bothers me. That would have been super nice, but okay. And again, I have to check if I actually have the to-do here. And then you can argue like the lookup is slower. And yeah, it is. But if you really, like if you have like thousands of records and you need to do cross-reference, of course you should consider having this other record. But then that's something that's a very specific optimization for that app. What the hell? Yeah, that's very specific to that app, right? And it shouldn't be like something in the library or whatever you want to call it. Cool. So we have a few more entities here now. Now we have a week event, we have week to do, and week dinner. So when we build up the weeks now, we have, yeah, this is also going to be gone now. Let's see. Yep, let's drop that one. Let's drop that one. The only thing I don't like about this is that it, like, there's so many implementation details, which kind of bothers me. Yeah, but it's fine for now. Right. What were we doing? Yeah, so now I think I might have some issues in the UI. Maybe. Or is it in plan next week? No, so it's fine. Yeah, I was only using that cross-reference. But now we have something else. We have this categorized to do. So that's like what to do. Well, I guess we can see it here. Oh. So this week and later events, those are categories. I'm just not rendering that to do at the moment. Oh my God, I've been home, home with the youngest today. He's been sick. I'm wondering if I'm catching something. And we've been playing Rocket League for, I think, 7 hours straight. I'm kind of out of it. But yeah, so the question is, we're doing this compute categorized. But then this is even more difficult, I think. It's easy to argue that we have a concept of weeks in state management, and we the state management handles like what data is available within the different weeks. But then you have this UI, which is kind of like, it's very much how the UI wants to show it. Like it wants to categorize to-dos a certain way and display them in a certain order, right? So this is definitely not the responsibility of the state management, in my opinion. So I want to keep exploring this. Yeah. So the question is like, should this just be derived, or does it need like a concept of computed? Like, how complex is this? But it's like, when this is rendered, each to-do will be its own component. So even though it needs to compute this the first time, the only time it will ever compute again after we're done, like, so that's the thing. It's like, if you actually have performance issues, what's the root of the performance issue? So here, it's not because we're not memoizing the categorized to-dos list. It's because that every single data change invalidates all the data. That's the root issue. So we don't, if we have that much data that becomes like a performance issue, we shouldn't revalidate everything. We should optimize how we, like, especially here, I'm going to toggle, right? I'm toggling this one. It shouldn't revalidate absolutely everything, right? But it will, because it's part of all the other data. But we can fix that, because with Firebase, when I do this, I can listen to a specific change that we modified this specific week to do, and that's just gonna change the actual array for me. Or sorry, no, it's gonna render this whole section, because the actual document in Firebase isn't split up by user. Like, all the users are in the same document, but that doesn't matter, right? It's fine that it renders, but it doesn't render anything else, or at least that's what we're gonna fix. So I want to keep this now. So what I'm trying to do is I'm kind of trying to reflect and reason about, like, what APIs and abstractions and like helpers do we actually need. Like, it's very easy to say that, oh, the problem is that you're not memoizing this, so we need a computed hook to like do observation-based memoization. But that isn't the problem. The problem is, as I said, that when I flip this thing, we're actually gonna revalidate all the week to-dos. Which means that, what does it actually mean? Okay, let's look at the code. So what actually happens when I have my week, I'm listening to weeks, and then for each week, so that will be the current week, right? So when I toggle, this is gonna update. So I'm gonna update the week.todos. So, and every single to-do here is looking for the week to do, its own week to do. So when I replace these to-dos, every single one is going to go and try to find it again. So it's going to be interesting to optimize that. But I'm not sure if I'm in the right state of mind to go in and do that right now. I think I'm going to change the documentation, because I'm not, I don't feel amazing. Probably shouldn't drink wine, but here we are. I have to be careful, actually, with drinking. There's been some alcohol issues in, not like severe, but enough to pay attention. The problem having kids, and there's alcohol in the house, it's like you always feel you deserve a treat. So if it wasn't alcohol, it could be like whatever. If there's something that's like defined as a treat, you have to be careful. That's why parents typically gain weight. It's because they treat themselves all the time. They deserve it, definitely, but it isn't super healthy. So I think this documentation is good. Like it explains how to deal with data references, but this deriving data, we're just gonna remove it, because I don't think oh no, sorry, deriving data. We shouldn't call it deriving data. Extending data. That's what it. Well, they extend data with some state management, expose the data in a more controlled way. Yeah, that's what I mean. And then we have deriving data references. And this, I don't agree with this one, because I don't really think you should derive data references. Well, I don't mean to say that. What I mean to say is that I don't think this is valid. Like either you are revalidating your data and it will be replaced every time, or you're not doing that. You're subscribing to specific changes, or you're doing like local mutation approach. So this will never happen. So I think this is like, doesn't matter. Like the only time you will really need this is if you have a data fetching solution that does revalidate everything, but it keeps references. So it kind of knows what's new and not new, but it always gives you everything. I've never actually seen that kind of solution before. So it's very theoretical. So we're just going to remove that. Because this is the thing that's really important. It's how you can extend data. Yeah, by the way, I'm gonna do this, even though this is a little bit, but I want to keep it consistent. And let's call it data. Because you typically pass more than the data. You pass some other dependencies. So I want to keep it real. You're free to change data in place and rather hurt if the, but with revalidation, you want to show data is in flight. Oh yeah, so this is the thing there. Yeah, this is fine. That's actually what I wanted to do. I thought I had to write the extending part, but I actually don't have to do that. So that's good. Cool. Fix docs. Yeah, I don't have to release this now. It's not critical. Yeah, where we at? So, I think I'm gonna take one quick look at, let's see, family Scrum. I'm gonna take one quick look at the plan next week. Plan to do item context. Because here we're also, no, I don't think we're actually deriving anything here. No, this is actually just handling the updates. So that's going to be interesting. We're gonna, we are gonna, in our weeks, we have a week to do. And I think this week to do is the thing that should be responsible for. By the way, the reason I'm not doing week to do DTO like this is because this has ID, and then it has activity by user ID. But I don't want to use any of this, so that's why it doesn't extend it. I'm just replacing it. But what we want to do is assign or toggle, what should we call it? Toggle assignment. Something like that. But anyways, yeah, we can implement that later. Yeah, I really wish there was like a way to more. Yeah. What should we do here? Should we just call it like derive family members? Derive family members. Yeah. And then it was toggle assignment. Oops. Function toggle assignment. We don't really do anything there yet, but that's where we're going to have all this crazy logic. Yeah, and I guess, yeah, I'm weak to do. No, wait, this isn't the right thing. It has a weekday. Wait a minute, now I'm confused. Yeah, no, this isn't correct. So week, what is a week to do? Yeah, this is interesting. Why is this complaining? Oh, ESLint. So what I'm going to pass in, I'm going to pass in the which to do it is. Yeah, but that's, but why does a week to do have a specific weekday? Oh, wait a minute, sorry. No, sorry. We're going to do it here, of course. Because even though we are, yeah, sorry. So we are going to toggle assignment, and then weekday is a number. Of course, we're listing the to-dos, right? And then we're toggling assignment on a specific weekday. And then it knows, like behind the scenes, it knows which user it is. It knows that it's the current week. That's the only week we can toggle assignment for. And then we're good. Cool. But we can try to render this. So this is just, yeah, stuff. So we can just use this, I think. So that would be plan next week. What should we call it? What did I call it here? Plan to do. Plan next week. Yeah, I guess it's like plan next week to do. And it probably gets the to do. And we do start state. So none of these things, not this thing, none of these. No use app context. None of these, none of these. No. No. So this would be... Where's the rest of it? This is week activity. This is for a specific user. Where the hell do I have? Oh, sorry. I have that in the... Oh, so this is actually, sorry. So yeah. Where the hell? Here I actually have previous week, and then I render to do. Oh, let me check that. No. Render to do, plan to do, item context. Where do I have the freaking name of the... This is just functionality. I'm very confused. Family user ID, avatar. But where the hell is... Like if I look at the app, I have the actual name and I even have the checklist there. Oh, you know what? I think maybe I know what it is. Plan to do item. So am I doing... This is planned use... No, I'm still confused. Plan to do item context. Is this the same app? Plan... What the fuck? This is... But this isn't rendering any... I don't understand this. Because there is... I think I have this... Yeah, common components. I have this to-do item. And I think it takes like children, right? Yeah. And I think that's what I'm doing. I'm actually rendering a to-do item. And then I'm making children, that is like the other things. But there is no children here. It's just plan to do item. There is no to do item. I am exceptionally confused by this. But anyways, I can render it. So do I have like a common thing? No, I don't even have that common. Oh, I don't even render the to-dos. Didn't I move all of these? Oh, you know what? I'm not in the mood for this. I thought I had moved all of them. I did. It's called to-do, sorry. Okay, let's try it. Let's just render the to-do first. So that will be to-do. Yeah, look at this. Here they are. All of them. Is it supposed to be all of these? Oh yeah. We haven't had our backlog. We used to sit down with this list every Sunday. And actually now, it's good we're working on this because it's just been hopeless having a 4-year-old that can't like play on his own outside, and we can't like tell him to just for an hour be by yourself. But okay. So this would rather be assignment toggler or something. Let's call it the assignment toggler. And this will be, assignment toggler. And it needs, what do you need? So you need a family members. Yeah, but I think I can pass it. What should I pass it? Let's see. Plan next week to do's. Do I have a back reference to? Yeah, I do. So I wonder if, so we have to give it to do, but we also want to give it assignment toggler. Question is, what should we pass it? So what it needs access to all the members. So I wonder if we should pass it the to do, of course, but we also need to pass it to do's. And that's basically just for back reference, I think. So we would do to do's, family scrum, session, family members. Look at us back referencing up the tree. This would be props. Yeah, and now it's building up the week activity for each user. Yeah, no, we need weeks. Let's see. Week will be state.week. We also need the week. And the week holds yeah. So how do I build this up? So I need to build up this array. Oh my god. This is an insanely complicated UI. I actually, like when I first implemented it, I can't remember. But I remember there was many rounds like figuring out how to organize the data and like actually handling it. And days and dates and calculating like day index based on date and all that stuff. It's super complicated. But what I have here, so I can check based on to-dos if there's something happening on that specific day for that specific user. Oh, so does this mean like for every user I have to like, do I really have to do this? Week to-dos, find week to do, assignments, shit. Yeah, this is the thing I'm struggling the most with. Like I can't find a good way to expose the state in a way that doesn't require, like I can just expose the state more as is, and maybe I should do that. But that means that the UI is in much needs to bring more stuff together. And I don't want to expose that complexity to the UI. Like it should be able to, but this isn't easy either, right? So if I want to know if a user, a specific family member on a specific day has assigned to this to do, I have to like it would be so much easier if I could say to do assignments or even like, and this is what I'm getting at. Like, what if I can say family user dot to do's, and then like to do dot id, or like family user assignments current week. Like how it's complicated no matter what I do. And then to do ID or false. Like that is the kind of thing I'm looking for. But what I've done now, like previously, I could actually go and find the assignments pretty easily. But I've hidden that now. Because I rather wanted a week to-dos and then assignments. I wanted an array of assignments because that's nice for the calendar, right? To just be able to like, okay, let me just go through the to-dos of this specific day and let me list the assignments. Perfect. But here it's shit. Because here we rather want to just say, okay, these are the days of the week. Is there an assignment in one of these days? But again, I'm refactoring. So maybe I would actually have done this very differently. So I would definitely go and find week to do. Would be week dot to do's. Oh yeah, so yeah, sorry. So what I can do here is week to do's find, say week to do id equals to do dot id. And then I can go and grab assignments. And if there aren't any, I'm gonna just make it an empty array. So those are the current assignments. Current assignments. Yeah, and then I can do, okay. And then I want the assignments for user is current assignments find ID equals family. This should really be family member ID. So this for member or family member. So these are the assignments for family member. But again, this is an array. Oh, I don't know which weekday it is. Oh, wait a minute. How did I make this? Oh my God, I'm so confused. Okay, so you might have multiple. Yeah, of course. So the point is you can assign to the to-do for different days. Like I feel like I would just architected this in a really bad way. I don't know. Like doing these lookups feels such a hassle. Why does it feel like that? I guess it is because I'm trying to. I think I'm trying. Like I think what's happening here is that I'm trying too hard to make the state as accessible as possible for one piece of UI. And this app is such a great example because it has this, like, what do you call it? Like showing these to-dos in the calendar, that which is based on weekday. But then you go in here, it's the complete opposite. You have one to-do with multiple weekdays. So yeah, I feel like I'm going too far with like it needs to be more up to the UI to define how it's going to use this data. So when I have a week here, so what do I actually have here? So when I have a week to do DTO, where it's like it's opposite, right? I have a single ID for a to-do, and then it's activity by user ID. And this is just an array of true, false. So what I can do is that I can just expose that, but that's going to create a hassle for the calendar, because now for each day, I have to go into every week to do, go through every user and see if they have that day true or not. But like that's the way it is. And then for the to-dos list, I would have to, yeah, just find a week to do, and then I would just use the data as is. Yeah, I think me trying to make this thing something that it isn't. But the thing I kind of want to get away from is this, like, referencing. Like the data should just be there. The UI should manually have to create these references. So as an example of that, I don't want the UI to go and the user ID, and it has to go and find the members and match it up. Like with the week to do DTO, even here, I want it to have access to the to do. So I can still do that. So for example, here, so let's not go so crazy with this week to do. So it's gonna have the to do, but then instead of having this record of this record, it's gonna have assignments, but not family member. It's gonna be export type week to do assignment. So that's gonna be, well, I guess family member. That's what I'm calling it. And then activity would be week to do activity DTO. So this would be assignments, would be an array of week to do assignment. So this would be ID here. This would be the user ID. Well, I guess this should be called user ID. Should I call it family member? Did I call it family member? Yeah, because this is just ID and family ID. Yeah, something else for sure. Yeah, we can call it family member. Well, I guess we don't need an ID here. Derive assignments. So assignments here is, oh, because even here I'm like massaging the thing. Hello there. Let's see, week to do. Yeah, look at me go. So now we can remove all of this stuff. I think we're just going to pass the week to do data. Yeah, sorry. So we're going to do this. If no to do, we're just going to return null. And then if that's not the case, we're actually going to return week to do. There's no weekday index and there's no assignments. It's just week. Yeah, so this is a long story. So I have a couple of videos out on actually this like core pattern to help dealing with complexity, or yeah, complexity in components. that you can also use for state management, and how you can actually do state management just using a simple reactive primitive. Because long story short, I've been a contributing factor myself, but I think we made state management so much harder than it needs to be. Or not harder, but in the quest for making it as accessible and easy as possible, we've been creating so many abstractions and primitives and concepts that kind of does this lock-in thing, as opposed to just using the language. And I've had this app that I built for my family, which we've been using for a few years, that has a lot of complexity to it. And I've been using that every time I'm reflecting on state management and trying different approaches. So currently I'm just, but yeah, if you're very curious, I have a couple of videos on my channel, which is about that core pattern. And then this is using that pattern. And I'm also building on that pattern, just using JavaScript. Like, there's no like framework or anything. It's just using JavaScript on how you can deal with different things in state management, one of them being data. So I'm just here trying to make sense of my Firebase data, which is, let's see, week to day index, week to do, which is structured, like in Firebase, you have to structure your data in a certain way for it to be optimized. And that structure isn't typically very accessible for a UI to show. So I've been kind of iterating and trying, like, okay, I want my state management to make this data more accessible for the UI, but I don't want it to be dictated by what I'm currently presenting in the UI. So I've had some iterations where I've kind of tuned it for the calendar, which we have here. And then suddenly I go in here, which uses the same data, but in a very different way. And then I've been like, no, this doesn't work. And then this becomes a mess. And then, oh, maybe I shouldn't do anything. Maybe I should put all the logic in the UI. And like, what's the right way to approach this? Let's see. So we have week to do. Let's see. We're just going to do this again, I think. So we have week to do activity by user. Yeah. So we have assignments is week assignment. What did I call it? Week to do assignment. And then we are going to go through user ID in week to do activity by user ID. And then for each user ID, I'm going to go and I'm going to find this family member. And then if we can find a family member, we're going to push week to do data activity by user ID. Oh, doesn't that work? Oh, sorry. Activity and then family member. All right. Derive assign. Oh, and then we need to return those assignments. Okay. So what we're basically doing is getting rid of this record for lookups. So we have. Sorry, I know exactly how you feel. I remember I remember so well. And then I've been coding for a long time. Built some pretty complex applications, and I couldn't understand what people were talking about this state thing. Like, what do they mean when they say state? And I was like nodding, and I didn't I didn't understand it. It's like when people say time and space. What do they call it? I remember I was in this like Facebook interview thing, like a very early kind of interview. I think it was because I've been doing open source. Yeah, space and time complexity. And he just asked me, like, try to position me, and he asked me about space and time complexity, and I'm like, nah, I don't know those words. And also state was a big mystery to me, and immutability has been a big mystery. Like a lot of these things has been a big mystery to me. But space and time complexity is basically like how many watch your loops, and watch like how much do you loop over things, right? Performance, basically, just pure iteration over data. And then how much memory are you consuming? Like how many objects are you creating? Can you like structure things differently so you don't have to create so many objects or so many arrays? How can you do things differently so you don't have to loop so much over things? Space and time. But it sounds fancy, right? And the same for state as well. State is just values that's available in your application that you're using. But yeah, so we make things more sound very smart. It's kind of sad, but it's like I think it's to communicate more efficiently. But it's harder for people getting into the space or whatever subject it is. Let's see. I think I'm happy with that thing. And then we're going to change how we do the calendar thingy. Because now this is a mess. Now we have week to-dos, and I'm on this specific day. And I need to know if there is... if you have to love programming to learn it. Yeah, if you like, you shouldn't do anything for money. Well, that sounded weird. Of course you should do things for money, but I don't think you can learn anything with the motivation of earning money. Maybe yeah, I guess I'm kind of, yeah, I think I'm privileged that I just found coding. I love coding. And then it happened to be that I could make money off of it. But you definitely don't have to love coding. Like coding is just a tool. Like no programmer is a coder. Like we're basically product engineers. Like we're building products. So that's the thing. If you want to build something that's valuable for other people, if you can love that, then coding is just a tool for doing that. Like nobody codes just for code's sake. That doesn't bring any value to anyone. But if you want to... yeah, I think it's very hard to learn a skill based on wanting to earn money from it. I think it's hard to learn any skill without loving doing the skill. So I would rather try to find something you like to do and then figure out how to make enough money from it. Not like I want to make a lot of money. What can I do? Like that's why everyone wants to be a doctor or a lawyer, right? When they're kids. At least here, I'm from Norway. Typical theme. Everyone, young teens, they want to become a lawyer or a doctor because it has status and they make a lot of money. Nobody like becomes a doctor or a lawyer, or maybe they start doing it but they drop out because they're not passionate about it. And yeah, it's a cliche, this whole find something you're passionate about, but it's true. Like, you have to enjoy what you're doing. No money in the world matters if you don't enjoy what you're doing making that money. That's a good one. That's what I meant to say. I was discussing with a friend of mine who got like a big ass offer, like a type of, if I do this for a few years, I can retire. And then we talked about like what makes him happy. And what makes him happy is what he's doing now. Like, he doesn't need that money to do what he loves doing. And if he has enough money to retire, he'll still be doing what he's doing now. So it's like irrelevant. The money is actually irrelevant as long as you have enough and you're doing something that brings you joy. Like, it's scientifically proven that, what is it? Depending on where you live, of course, but here in Norway, which is relatively expensive, but not like as expensive as in the States, if you earn more than, what is it, like $70,000 a year, it doesn't make you any happier. Like, you're still gonna have shitty days, you're still gonna feel anxious, like, you're gonna have great moments, you're gonna like learn new things. Like, it doesn't matter as long as you at least earn that. Like, doubling that money isn't gonna double your enjoyment of life. Emotionally, at least. You might have like bigger, more impactful experiences, like some unique memories other people haven't had the chance to have. But day-to-day emotional state, do you feel content? Do you feel happy? You don't need more money than that. That was a very long answer. Let's see. Week to-dos. So what are we looking for here? Current to-dos. So we need to figure out if there is an assignment. We need to figure out if there is an assignment for. So that means some assignment activity index. So basically, week to-dos. Okay, great. I got a little bit. I had a couple of glasses of wine, so I get, and it's in the evening, I'm a little bit tired. So I got a bit, yeah, went a bit far with it. But yeah, thanks for the response. But yeah, it's hard. Like, how old are you? I guess you're relatively young, trying to figure out what you want to do, how to earn enough money, how to find happiness and all of this, with all these expectations of how you get there. Let's see. So we have week to-dos. So we're basically going through the to-dos we found. So we know that we can map over the assignments, but we only want the assignments that are actually active. So do we have to go? Oh, 20. Yeah, you're right in the. Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like. Like I'm 41, so it's like 20 years since I was 20. Um, but I can't imagine how it's like now. And I didn't grow up like having that too much like expectations put on me, but I know a lot of people like that's what's changed now. Like when I was young, oh fuck, I feel like I'm so old. But when I was young, the expectations only came from parents and your immediate like community and neighborhood and school and friends and stuff. But now expectations are dropping on whatever feeds on your phone. Like one of 10 feeds are like or um or what I mean to say is like there's so many feeds that just adds to that pressure, which is insane. Which is and it's not like that there's so many feeds, but it's just a constant flow of reminders of what you should expect from life. It's fucking insane. And I don't understand how people deal with that. I'm so um yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think I have like a I don't know what it is. I think it's the lighting. You can't see all my see this? um but yeah, I don't understand how young people deal with the constant reminder of how they should live their lives. Um, and none of it's like true. Like you'll never feel content. Like it's human nature to strive for something, and then we have maybe like a couple of days of feeling content, and then we start like getting out of balance again. And we need to crave something more or different. But that doesn't mean that have to be a bad thing. It just means you have to accept that's human nature. And it doesn't matter how high you get, you'll always feel like you need more. But if you are able to identify that, you can deal better with that feeling, and you can change your perspective and say that it's kind of like if you feel anxious, right? You try to get away from that feeling. Like, how can I get rid of being anxious? But the point is that it's a very perfectly normal feeling. Everybody has that feeling. And instead of trying to get rid of it, just accept that it will be there and try to deal with the feeling better. And it's the same with just generally life. It's like there are situations where you want to get away and you need to make things better for yourself, but there's no level of accomplishment that's going to make you content. It's your perspective on life itself that makes you content. I wish we learned a lot more about this in school, because we certainly don't. Like, what does it mean to be a successful human being? Not like successful in today's society and business and like yeah, or it shouldn't be even successful. It should be how to become a content human being. That should be a subject in school. Yeah, yeah, and I like, and I can totally understand why you would want to become rich, and like, but there's a difference between you stating that you want to become rich and that you want to be healthy and you want to help your mother. Those are two very different things. You don't have to be rich to stay healthy and help your mother. Like, what if making all that money keeps you away from your mother so she never sees you? Then that's definitely not what you want to do. But I don't mean to like, I totally understand what you mean. And yes, you need enough money. But the question is like, I would rather like try to figure out what's enough money to be healthy and help your mother, and not like how can I make as much money as possible. Yeah, and save. If you do earn more money than you need, save it. It's the most boring thing ever. But that's also something I wish we learned. Like I think we learn in school about saving money, but we don't, not in the right way. That's for sure. Let's see. What the hell were we doing? Yeah, we have these assignments. But we can only extract the assignments that are actually. Yeah, you know, I think we should map these ones to what do we actually get here? We get to do. And then activity, but what I really want here is, yeah, you know what we're rather gonna do? We're gonna map over so if the to-do has an assignment, oh, what are we gonna do here? So I just want the to-dos. Oh, I know what we can do. No, I don't know what we can do. This is annoying because I want to. How are we going to do this? So what if I map? No. Because the problem now is that we're just finding that one member of the family has an assignment to this to do. But then I want to iterate the specific members that actually has an assignment to these to-dos. So ideally we would. Oh, but this is, wait a minute. No, that's true. Yeah, so these are the actual to-dos. And then I guess we kind of have to look at it again, but I don't like that. So I want to map. Yeah, you know, I think what we should do is we're gonna first map, and we're gonna map to, but do I need the ID as well? Yeah, I need a week to do. What the hell should we do here? So what if I keep the to do, and we're gonna do assignments would be to do assignments some, or no, not some, but where? No, what the hell is it? Filter, of course. Where assignment activity index. Okay, so week to-dos, we're mapping all the to-dos. Damn, this is horrible. Okay, we're mapping over all the to-dos, and we're checking what assignments we have on this day. And then we can filter on those that actually has assignments. I don't like this. Why is this so complicated? Because now I can like safely iterate. Oh, you know what? We're gonna change this. We're gonna do what I did. So we're gonna go over these ones, and then we're gonna do, I think we're basically gonna do the same. Only we're gonna do a filter. So here we're gonna do assignments. Filter. Yeah. So when we get to the week to do, we're going to filter the assignments on if there is activity that day. And then we have assignment. So that's assignment family member name. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I think that's fine. Oh my God. This was and then, okay, let's try to finish this one. And then we have plan next week to do's, that's fine. And then we have our assignment toggler, which needs, yeah. So what does this one need now? Now we can go in and we get our week to do's. And if we have assignments, yeah, so this would now be assignments. So this was kind of be the same thing. Assignment dot family member. Yeah, and then activity. So if, yeah, okay. So in the assignment toggler, we're first finding the assignments of this specific to do. But why can't I just pass in the week to do? This seems silly because I have that, right? Render to do. No, I guess I don't have that. Okay, so we have to find, yeah, this is all about like finding out the current state of the thing. And then we have previous week. Oh shit. Yeah, previous week. That's also a thing. Like I'm showing, like I'm not only showing, like I'm not showing just for the planning for this week. It also highlights what you did last week. Like it's kind of crazy how complicated it is. But okay, so we have to do assignments, and then we have previous. So then we need to do assignments. Previous to do assignments would be previous week. Oh my God. Yes. And then we would basically do this thing. Only we would point to previous to do assignments. And that was activity by user ID, yeah. And then this is disabled if, oh, we also need, fun. To-dos dot family scrum session dot user ID. Yeah, we're gonna fix that. And then again, to-dos session user ID. Oops. Wow. Wow. So this needs the to-do, but it also needs week, which will be weeks current, and previous week would be weeks previous. Wow, this is... Oh, and we need to-dos. OMG. Look at this. At least we have it there. But yeah, oh my god, this UI is very cool though. Like when my partner and me were sitting there, we're just going through like everything. Like the whole point of this app is that my partner was complaining about me not listening as she was bringing up stuff during the week, and I just, I had enough on my mind. It's a very typical thing in a relationship. So I built this app where I told her, anything you think of during the week, just write it down in this app. And then every Sunday we're going to sit down and we're actually going to go through the list, and I'm going to tell you what I'm committing to help out and make sure that we get stuff done and everything. And it's been working beautifully for us. But yeah, okay, but good. I wanna watch something before I go to bed. But this is nice. Now we have this stuff in here, and yeah, I think this is a really great app to do a lot of different reflections, because it has a pretty insane data complexity and UI complexity. Yeah. And the question is like, how do you express that? It's kind of cool because you can go through the history of the whole app through the different implementations. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, we've gotten through the worst parts, I think. But we have a few. So we're gonna make this thing work. So we're gonna finish the UI first, and then we're gonna optimize data fetching, because now I'm just subscribing to everything. But we're gonna have like specific subscriptions, and we're gonna see how it changes the rendering behavior in the app. And then we're also gonna bring back the AI thing, which is actually kind of cool. You can click this thing down here, it brings up like a text prompt, and you can prompt it, and it will automatically create to-dos or grocery items and checklists and everything, just based on your natural language text, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm just trying to, I often do that when I have these sessions. I kind of try to pick something to reflect on. So one thing is definitely like, this is, the calendar looks great now. And plan next week to do's is great. The only thing that's special about this one is that we're deriving this categorized list, but that is UI. The UI should do that. And then the question becomes, does it actually need to memorize that? But it doesn't. In my opinion, it doesn't. Like, that's not, if it needs to do that, there's a different problem, which is that the data is changing in a way that's not optimized. So that's what we're going to play with. So basically, the whole idea here is that whenever I click one of these, the only thing that should reconcile is this thing, is like this component here. This is a component in and of itself. That's the only thing that should reconcile, right? None of the other ones. But when I click it now, everything reconciles. The whole freaking list reconciles, I believe. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Okay, I guess that's it. Thanks for tagging along, and we'll talk later. Bye-bye.